Hi, everyone. So yes, I'm excited to be here. You know, I always use the word excited every single time I have guests with me because I'm learning. And at the same time, I know that I'm bringing something really rich and, with a wider perspective to everyone who's going to be watching. So if you're on C.E.D.A.R and you're with us, I can't see you except you give me an emoji. Please give me an emoji and let me know you're there. And if you're going to be watching the replay on Facebook as well, please give us the hashtag replay. And then, of course, because we know we're going to be having other platforms carry this video in a few days, let us know if you're watching the replay or if you got to, watch it live with us. So I'm excited to be here again. Today we have C.E.D.A.R Table. I have 3 incredible guests with us today. One you're very, very familiar with. So what we're going to do today, which we've not done in the last, I think 2 times, we're not going to read his bio because we already know who he is. He's a member of faculty, Tope Ogunfayo. And the only thing I can probably tell you about him is that he's an incredible person when it comes to productivity. So yes, he's someone who is basically an expert in personal productivity, and he's a leader in the corporate space. So that's all I'm going to tell you. But if you want more about him, you probably want to go to LinkedIn and check out his profile. All right. Now, I also have with me today Rotimi Ogunyemi and Ololade Olayanju, but I am not going to start with Rotimi because he's a guy. Everyone always says ladies first. So I'm going to be going first with Ololade's bio. So let's just meet them briefly, and then we can go on to the gist for today. But thank you, Rotimi, Ololade, and Tope Ogunfayo for joining today's session. It's great to have you guys here. Awesome. All right. So,
Ogunfayo for inviting us.
Good. I'm excited to have you here. So let's just meet Ololade a bit. I'll just get up a bio here, and then we can go on to Rotimi's as well. So Ololade Olayanju is a private wealth manager in one of the leading investment companies in Nigeria. She has over 14 years experience in the banking and investment sector combined. Ololade is a graduate of demography and social statistics from the Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife and is currently awaiting a charter as a financial analyst. And for those of you that know the CFA exams, you know that it is not a simple work from start to finish. So basically, right now, I applaud you, Ololade, for coming this far on this journey, and congratulations as you await the charter. I hope that the celebration will get to our end here. She's also a go-getter and always aims to achieve any goal she sets for herself. So you see the reason why she had to be on this panel. I like that bit. She is from Abort in Ogun State. Yes, fellow Ogunarian. What do we call ourselves? Those of us from Abeokuta. What do we call ourselves? From the western part of Nigeria. And her hobbies include cycling. Indeed, if you want to do cycling in Lagos, she's someone to definitely go to. I see a lot of pictures that, kind of intimidate me sometimes, but I've decided to abort that one. We'll talk about that later today on the session, but that is not one I've decided to activate yet. She also likes reading and watching movies. She's married to Dr. Wale Olayanju, and she's blessed with 2 adorable children. Ololade loves teaching, money management skills, and she's inspired daily with having her husband and children in her lives and all of that. So it's great to have you here again, Ololade. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ogunfayo.
Awesome, beautiful. So let's go to Rotimi Ogunyemi now. A lot of people might have seen Rotimi around in the MBA space in Nigeria and maybe in some tech conversations. So I'm kind of honored to also have him here with me. I kind of dragged him from his busy schedule to be here. So thank you, Rotimi, for being here with us tonight. Now, Rotimi Ogunyemi is an information and communications technology attorney with years of critical experience in commercial, legal practice, and core expertise in handling legal issues relating to ICTs. He provides advice and assistance on corporate digital transformation. Rotimi has advised a variety of clients on digital services, social, mobile, and cloud technologies, and together with all aspects of law relating to the current information society and digital economy. He graduated from the Obafemi Awolowo University. Let me pause there to say that, yes, for those of you, great effect. For those of you who might be wondering what's going on here, yes, all the people you're seeing on the panel today are graduates of Obafemi Awolowo University. We'll talk about how the university is later if questions come up. But for now, just know that you have credible people, blessed people, and other people sharing with you today. and the Nigerian Law School. Rotimi is the managing partner of Bayo Ogunyemi and Co., a specialist in information and communications technology law practice in Lagos. He's an adjunct faculty member and lecturer of ICT law, policy and regulation at the Nigerian Communications Commission Digital Bridge Institute. He's a trainer for the International Telecommunications Union, courses on ICT law and policy. He has delivered research papers and presentations on various platforms and conferences, including one at the International Bar Association Conference and to the Federal House of Representatives Committee on Telecoms. He is a co-chair of the Digital MBA Committee. He's a member of the Global Blockchain Business Council. Member. Wow, we have some gist coming up tonight. And a member of the International Bar Association Technology Law Committee and Communications Law Committee, amongst others. Rotimi Ogunyemi is the executive and teaching pastor at Christ Lovers Christian Center, Lagos. He's a graduate of the Association of Faith Churches and Ministers, AFCM Bible School. He is passionate about developing leaders and helping individuals find purpose, direction, and meaning in their lives for the benefit of others and nation building. He's married to Ronke Ogunyemi, who is my birthday mate for those who may want to know, and blessed with 3 lovely daughters. Thank you, Rotimi, for joining us today. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good. So since I've, shared a bit on Ololade, shared a bit on Rotimi, I think I'll go first to talk Ogunfayo. Well, on this topic today. Let's open the floor with his own thoughts on this. So, Temitope Ogunfayo, I know that you've been in the leadership space and personal development space. Well, though many people who know you probably know that the influence you've had has been quite strong in the spiritual space, ministry space. So you would know what it is to have an upgrade alert. But before we start talking about an upgrade alert, let's even define what upgrade is. So for you, what do you see upgrade as when you think about it, with the kind of work you've done so far in life with people and in your own space? How would you describe upgrade?
Thank you for that question, and what a pleasure to be on the panel with such wonderful, panelists. I saw their profiles being read out, and I can start to think maybe I need another upgrade in my own life too to be at that level as well, right? Awesome stuff. So for me, I think, when I look at upgrade, I just want to make it simple with what happens when you probably have a phone and you have an iOS system or something, or an Android system, and very frequently you get certain, notifications to upgrade, right? So it's like, you're raising something to a higher standard, something like that. Upgrade for me means a call, a notification to reach something that is higher, okay? Another way to explain it is you're flying and, you're flying economy, and, for some reasons, whether you paid for it or by divine providence, you are asked to come from economy to business, right? That's an upgrade. It's a call to a higher standard. And if you have flown both before, I know when I was growing up, I used to think that there was no difference between both, right? That we're all going to the same place and we all land in the same place. But hey, if you have flown both before, you know that there is a difference between 7 and 8, right? Okay, so that's an upgrade. It's a call to a higher standard, or you improve something by adding or replacing a component. That's what an upgrade means to me. So you are at a particular level, but you want to reach a higher level. You are enjoying something, but you want to enjoy it at a higher level. You're already doing something, but you feel your productivity can reach a higher level. That's what an upgrade means to me personally.
Fantastic. The best part of the one you just said right now that I like, from economy to business class. That is the one that I like.
Why was I sure you were going to pick that out?
I like that because interestingly enough, we see things like that. We want things like that, but we are probably not bringing it closer home. than when we have those experiences. Okay, but before I go deep into that, Ololade, what are your thoughts on what upgrade is, especially considering the fact that you deal with money? What does upgrade look like in your own space?
Well, okay, thanks for the invite again. Thanks for the honor. I really appreciate it. Personally, I don't know. Pastor T took the word out of my mouth. I was thinking about the phone too when I saw the upgrade. So to me, what it just like what you said, upgrade literally means making something better version of its old self. So that's why you have your phone. When you're an upgrade on your phone, you don't change your phone. Just make your phone better. When there's an upgrade on your laptop, you're not changing your laptop. You're just making your laptop better. To make it to make it more user friendly, to be more competitive, but you're making it better than the previous self. So that's to me, that's what upgrade is all about. Well, that could be upgrade in many areas of our life. It could be in our health, it could be in our finance, it could be in our work, on our job. But with regards to finance, to me, upgrade is being a new person financially, taking ownership of your financial life. That's, to me, that's what upgrade is. It means, it means also as a person making investment goals, thinking of being financially independent. Because to an extent, I always think in my mind when I saw the word upgrade. Upgrade is a journey. It's not an instant thing. That's why the phone maker keep on making different upgrades to make. It's a journey to reach perfection, if I may use that word. So being financially independent to me is upgrade. Financial. In fact, another word I can use is financial freedom.
Yeah.
Making your money work for you. That's to me, it's upgrade.
Awesome. I like that. And for those who probably did not hear that when she first said it, one interesting thing you said that I wasn't even quite thinking a lot about before today is that it doesn't mean you're changing the item. You're not necessarily, when you upgrade your the system on your laptop or on your phone, you're not necessarily changing that thing. And I'm actually, it's almost answering one of the questions that I hope to raise later. Could that be one of the things that prevents a lot of people from stepping into that, from even observing the alert? Because in their mind, they're probably thinking, everything about my life is going to change, could that be one of the holdbacks, but I like that. And I also like the emphasis you've laid on it's a journey. And it reminds me of one of the laws that, we take on the mastermind group, which, talks about gestation, that it takes time. It takes time for the change we want to come through, and just realizing that even when you get an alert, doesn't necessarily mean that is going to be the start and stop of the whole exercise or the thing happening in your space. So thank you so much for that perspective. I like that. So Rotimi, I know that this one that everybody has started talking about phones in your mind, you're like, that's my space. I don't know why you guys are talking about anything ICT, right? So let's hear a more techie version of upgrade from you.
Interesting. You just said what was on my mind, but really, I was going to ask you whether could I just say I agree with Tope and Ololade, right? But fantastic metaphor there, and totally that was what was on my mind. However, a few more words always come to me when I hear upgrade. I just basically think of the word growth. I think of the word change, transformation, right? So those are the words I associate with upgrade. And so I draw that from that knowing that, and I think there's a basic law of life, that living things grow, right? And so for me, it's like, well, the proof that I'm alive is that I'm growing, that I'm seeking upgrades, right? And then speaks to much of what Ololade said as well, in that, so I'm going biological now. So since everyone has gone techie, right? I totally get it that from when I put the seed in the ground to when the first stalk shows and the stem and the leaves, it takes a while. It takes a period of time. And so I putting all that together and I think speaking more in the corporate space or in the organizational world now, when I hear upgrade, I actually think about continuous improvement. And not just as a word, but as a culture, right? And so I guess as the conversations continue, I would speak more about that. But I wrap it up in the organizational world as a culture of continuous improvement. That's upgrade.
Thank you. I like what you did by just giving us some synonyms from the beginning, because a lot of people probably would have seen the advert like upgrade. What's upgrade? What I didn't do, don't see that again, you know. And you've simplified it, because I was almost going to say, oh, for those of you that might want to embrace the word growth, maybe growth is a simpler thing for you to look into. But then I'm realizing that in my work as a coach so far, a lot of people like the word transformation, actually. You know, when they see things like, oh, I want a transformation in my life. I want a transformation in my life. That is really what, you know, you will be getting at the end of the process. You know, Ololade used the word journey, and you're talking about continuous improvement at the same time. So I really like that. But just before we round up on our own descriptions of understanding of upgrade, I know, Tope Ogunfayo, that you are a faculty member also on the science of getting rich. And one of the things we talk about a lot from the book is the advancing man. How does that really point to, you know, this this topic of the upgrade?
Yeah, thank you for that. So again, just like Rotimi and Ololade has said, this is a process and it never ends. It's a culture of continuous improvement, and that's the concept of the advancing man as well. So upgrade is all about advancing. It's about a man who continuously advances himself, right? Who says, my best is yet to come, right? No matter what I'm doing today, no matter what perspective I am in today, no matter what position I am in today, there's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement. That's an advancing man. A man who advances in his thoughts, in his deeds, in his relationships, and in everything surrounding him. So it's almost directly proportional. When you say you're upgrading, it means you're advancing. And the question to ask yourself, or to ask ourselves, is, am I really advancing? An advancing man is an upgraded man, or is an upgrading man. It's a man that will continue to upgrade himself every single day. And we'll talk about that more as we go on in the conversation.
Yeah. I want to just also emphasize something you said on consciousness, because I think which I think ties to the next set of questions we're going to be looking at now, is in the alerts. Because one thing is the upgrade, right? And just knowing that an upgrade could exist, I could want it, it could happen to me. Then the other thing is when the alerts show up. Because I think for a lot of us, with the way life has been, with the way some of the devices we have work, alerts happen. So the question I want to ask you guys now is, what kind of upgrade alerts have popped up for you, right, in recent times? Okay. And I mean, I could share my own experience and then, you know, ask each of you to share your own thoughts on the kind of alerts. I know for me, the times when I have gotten an alert on the need for an upgrade is when I have tried to step into something new and then I found out that I had a gap. And I think the biggest alert that happened for me happened late 2018. I wanted to volunteer as a mentor on a platform, and it was the application form that changed everything for me today. Filling that form, I realized, oh my goodness, you have gaps. I was coming from a place where I felt that I had stuff, but to articulate it properly, formally, I realized that I didn't have the gap. I didn't have what it took to fill up those gaps in that in the application. And for me, that was the first and the biggest, probably the strongest alert I've ever gotten, to realize that you need an upgrade. So for me, the question I want you guys to, you know, respond to now is, what alert have you gotten in your space? And I mean, how did it come for you? Was it something you initiated? You know, what was it like? So let me start with Rotimi on this one.
Right. I mean, I love the illustration we just shared. You know, I believe that all of us, I mean, if we are very honest, we've had such experiences where we were like hit in the face, like, hey, there needs to be a change here, an upgrade here. So in answering that question, I will piggyback on something Ololade said, right, while she was giving the description, and which is that really and truly our life is one, right? But in that one, we have several domains, right? And like we all know, the obvious ones are spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical, that's our health, right? Marital, parental, social, vocational, avocational, financial. I could speak to any of these, but let me speak to the one that is at the heart of it, not because I'm a pastor, but because I think it would help me illustrate this better. During COVID, I was working from home, say, and I still am, about 99% of the time. So I tell myself that, I'm a patient person. I can take a lot of, shenanigans here and there. But I get on the road and I realize that my nerves are jumping. I'm lashing out at the slightest irritation, right? And honestly, for me, that's an alert that says I need an upgrade in my patience level right here, right? And I use that example because that's the one that comes readily to me. The same thing applies in all of those domains I mentioned,
Wow, this is incredible. So basically, your response is making you see that a virtue needed a boost. That is fantastic. That is fine. And it takes a mature level of awareness to actually call yourself to check to say, I went overboard on that one. Because a lot of us are actually going overboard on some things and we're not even calling ourselves, we're not checking ourselves, we're not reflecting, we're not thinking, that was an excess, that was an extreme, that should have been checked. We're not doing that. And it's good for us to also realize that upgrade. So for me, the example I gave had to do with maybe skill sets, because I wanted to fit into a profile. But you are even saying, even with your relationships, if a virtue that is going to be required to make a relationship work, the wheels of a relationship flow well, move well, is being, stifled or, prevented from moving smoothly, then you need an upgrade. You need an upgrade there. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. All right, Ololade, what about you? Well, what alert can you think about? What kind of alerts have come for you? On upgrade so far.
Okay, so I would talk about an upgrade trigger for me was unhappiness. So in my former place of work, I was unhappy with my job role, not really with my employer, with my job role. I was not happy doing what I was doing. And I thought to myself, like you said before, you saw that you needed a skill set. You needed to upgrade yourself. You needed to acquire some skills to do that volunteer job you wanted to do. For me, I thought to myself, if I should leave this job now, what value will I have to another company? Basically none. None. So apart from being a marketer, which anybody could do, there's basically no value I can add to another company if I'm asked to leave where I was working then. So that was, to me, a trigger to me. And that's what made me to start working on myself to become a finance professional. Wow. Unhappiness, one. Number two, I couldn't add value if I should leave where I was working previously. So those are the two triggers for me.
Wow. And the interesting thing, some of us get those triggers of unhappiness, but we're not even thinking about value. We're just like, I'm just going to change to another organization. You're not thinking, okay, do I want to do more for an organization where I'm going to go? We're just like, I'm unhappy here, that's all. But you took your appreciation of that unhappiness to the next level by saying, okay, even if I want to move, what am I going to give where I'm going? And that's a mature level of awareness. I just felt to emphasize that again. And thank you for sharing that. Tope Ogunfayo, what about you?
Yeah, I'm really I'm learning already from this. So what I've learned from the two responses is, even these alerts, most likely they have a trigger. And apart from paying attention to the alerts themselves, pay attention to what triggered it. So I'll be able to give my own example in a better way because I've learned that. Because now I'm realizing there was a trigger. I have several examples, but let me try to say something a bit different from what everyone else has said. So a couple of years back, so I work for a multinational. I've been doing very well, enjoying it. And then a couple of years back, the company was doing a restructuring, right? And then, one day I just told myself, since how long have you left university? You pride yourself in working for a company where, it's a mini MBA. You're learning a lot. They are moving you around and you are learning a lot, and that's fine. But I just realized it's been, over 15 years, and I don't have any other thing apart from my BSc. Yeah, I've learned a lot, but, whether you believe it or yes, there are certain companies that they don't want to know what you have learned until they've seen a degree. So I asked myself, okay, my company will not ask me that, right? Because they know what I can do and all of that. But what happens in this restructuring? So you can imagine that the trigger was some form of fear, some form of what does the future hold? But then I realized, look, you need an upgrade, man. You cannot be holding the same certificate that you've had since 2001, right? Under whatever guise, it's not acceptable. So, that led me to upgrade, so to speak. So then and then I took a decision. I said, man, you need to go and do an MBA, right? And if you are going to do one, you are going to do the best possible, right? And, the rest is history. 2 years of hard work, and probably would have an opportunity to share about that. And, I got it, I upgraded, and I'm super excited that that happened. But now I'm realizing there was a trigger, the trigger of, I have kids, I don't want stories, and then I had to upgrade.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ololade, for you, I like the example you've given to us about identifying the unhappiness, but I'm sure that you've had people who have expressed that to you in the past, maybe things that they're unhappy about, and in your mind, you're probably thinking, change it, because in your own space, you're like, when it happened to me, I changed it. For you, what do you think could prevent people from embracing an upgrade? So when an upgrade alert shows up, they abort it. Because the options of when an upgrade happens is that there's nothing like being neutral with upgrade alerts. It's either you're aborting it or you're activating. So there's no middle ground on that. So if you're saying you are stalling on an upgrade, you've basically aborted for that moment. That's the truth. At that time, you've aborted it. So what in your own, because I think that that's the default for a lot of us. So I will start with the aborting before we start talking about activating, right? So what makes people immediately abort an upgrade alert when it comes up, when it shows up in their space? And while you're telling us that, let us know something that you actually aborted. So now we know you've hinted us on something you activated, but we want to know one that you actually aborted.
It's same. So, but okay, that question brings two things to my mind. One, fear of the unknown. What if? Some people are naturally optimistic and some are naturally pessimistic. And if you're the pessimistic side, I don't know. So to me, the second question you had, this exam, my CFA exam, I've known about it since when I was in university. It's just that, I don't know. I've avoided it so many times. I'll think about it, think about the money, paying dollars, big. And I just removed from my mind for a long time until I made up my mind to really go for it. And the second thing that comes also to mind is being okay with your comfort zone. You don't want to leave your comfort zone because it takes energy. It's stressful leaving your comfort zone to do something or to upgrade yourself, to make yourself a better person. It takes sacrifice. It takes, I don't know, you know better, you're the coach. But it takes a lot of things from you, to upgrade yourself, to apart from you deciding, taking that step. I want to take the first step. Funny enough, the other is easier. But taking that first step is the most important thing. And fear could stop you from taking that first step. Also, being comfortable in your comfort zone could stop you from taking that first step.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that you also told us vulnerably, I aborted my CFA exam since over and over. I kept aborting it. It's interesting. Thank God that those things that we abort don't have blood elements to them. Because when we think about real life abortion, man, I'm sure a lot of us will probably think twice about the abortions we've done in our life. And we are often standing against the real life abortions. Meanwhile, in other things in life, we're just aborting anyhow. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let's hear from Rotimi. What do you think makes people abort? Because I know for you, you also have the opportunity of dealing with a lot of people in the workspace and in the ministry space. What makes people just immediately abort something? Especially when you can see it that this is something you should take, right? This is an upgrade you should embrace. But what makes people just abort?
Fantastic, and excellent response also from Ololade. She just basically once again spoke my mind, because it was one word for me. It's the fear of change, right? We all talk about change. We actually say we want change, we want to improve, we want to scale, right? But when it really confronts us, then we develop cold feet, right? Truth is, I heard someone say one time that people only change 2 times, or 2 things trigger change. It's either when we want to or when we have to, right? And think about it. It's one of the 2, So again, I'll speak to the organizational side, but let me draw from a personal example. This time, it's probably about my health, right? But my dental health. So I've got triggers for like 3 years, a particular tooth. The triggers are, them, an ache here, but we also know the antidotes, which I wouldn't say here so that nobody will go self-medicate. And so for another 6 months, pain-free, right? But after about 4 years, eventually, I summoned up courage and went to the dental clinic. First of all, like you can guess, that tooth had to go.
Wow.
Because I thought I was aborting, but really and truly, I was only prolonging the day that, and so for me, that was a life lesson. And so when I look at the organizational space, whether for-profit or non-profit, say faith-based, really and truly, a lot of times, and I see it with, us, we do not want to leave our comfort zone. We'll use the faith-based setting as an example. When COVID hit, it was clear to us that we needed to do things differently, right? First of all, the digital, became mainstream, right? But quite a number of us were so used to in-person, and in-person has its benefits. We want to maintain that social cohesion and all of that. But the truth was, the reality says we needed to upgrade our skills to, some kind of hybrid proficiencies, right? But we resisted, we kicked, but a time came when we didn't have the choice, and we all shifted and adjusted, all right? So again, just to sum it up, I think it's the fear of change. Change is never easy. It demands a lot from us again. It's going to take a whole lot, and so we'd rather not than go down that route. So those are my thoughts at the moment.
Wow. One thing I don't want to miss out from what you've said is the 2 times that, the alert could be triggering us taking a step is when we want to or when we have to. And I think if we really think about it, we would rather want to. So it's better for you to want to than to wait to have to, because that's what happens to a lot of people. They get to a stage when they respond appropriately to an alert when they now have to. Then you said something about, even though you were aborting it, just like Ololade was doing with her own over and over, you still came back to it. That means that aborting most times is not a final step, because somehow you will come full circle around that thing. So for anybody who's probably watching this and I've been getting triggers in this thing, I think I don't need it. It might not come the same way years down the line or exact way years down the line, but definitely something similar. Because like we've all agreed at the beginning, because life is continually advancing, that means that there's something you need to embrace at a particular phase in your life. So if you don't embrace that thing, you will still come full circle back to it. And that's the reason why even in education, at least for elementary level and high school, secondary schools, you will repeat a class, or you repeat a paper, or you repeat an exam if you don't scale through. It's just like aborting it to say, I don't know it, I can scale through. You will still come back full circle. You will still come back. What would you say to this thought, Dr. Ogunfayo?
I think fantastic thoughts so far. I'll just probably touch a few things that are different. So again, we talked about fear, very clear. One other thing I have noticed is procrastination. I would do it, but tomorrow. I would do it, but next year. And it's a very subtle way to abort upgrades, because you're not telling yourself you won't even do it, right? You're saying, I will do it, but tomorrow. And what I found out about procrastination is that it's the greatest thief of all times. Unfortunately, it's still at large. Even CIA and all the great
FBI,
they've not been able to catch up with this, with procrastination. And the interesting thing is that procrastination steals from everyone, from kings, from peasants, from poor, from rich. So I have seen, especially from my own end, that this is a big deal. I would do it, but tomorrow. I would do it, but next week. Okay. Another thing I've seen is busyness, stroke activities. I'm busy. See, if you look at me, yes, I know I need this upgrade, but I abort because why? I'm doing other things. I'll come back to it. It's related to procrastination, but full of activities. The other thing that I've seen before I give my example of abortion is value framing. So people don't put the right value on the upgrade that they are doing, right? So if, for example, the business class upgrade that I was talking about, if someone feels, what is the difference between economy and business? We're all going to the same place. We will start in the same place and finish in the same place. So they miss the value. You understand my point? They don't put the right value on that upgrade. But for someone who knows the difference and puts a value on that upgrade, the value framing is different. Okay? And I've looked at this. One of the ones that I have struggled with is procrastination. So from a finance point of view, God has helped us, God has blessed us. But I started looking at other streams of income, right? And the one that has come to my space in the last couple of months and years is Bitcoin and NFT. But each time it keeps coming, I keep aborting, right? Because of all the reasons that you guys have mentioned. Fear. What is in this NFT? What's in this new Bitcoin that everybody is talking about? It's procrastination. I will learn about it, but in 6 months' time, right? It's business. Oh, I'm involved in real estate, in other things. Do I want to, my attention? And then, value framing. Is it really worth it? What if you lose the money? So those are the things that cause people and myself to abort. And it's important that we are aware of them.
Wow. I like this value framing thing. It reminds me of one of the questions that, I tend to put to clients a lot. And, I've shared it on sessions, is to say, what do you get when you embrace this upgrade? And what do you lose when you abort? Because until we are able to appreciate that, most times the default is to abort at that time or to procrastinate. We need to get to a place where we're like, okay, if I don't take it now, what, and if I take it now, what will the gain be? And if that value is not strong enough, there was a word Ololade used at the beginning, sacrifice. For the sacrifice that is required, you will still abort because in your mind, you're like, it's not the same value. Doesn't make sense to me. Because if your mind, you're thinking you're going to dig into your savings to go for a master's today, in your mind, you're like, I can use that money, buy a house, the rent, you can pay this, you can do that. You are just comparing it and you're like, no, I don't need that. This I would rather do. I think that's really what happens to people. So thank you so much for that. And so let's now switch to activate. Let's switch to activate. All right. Now, while I want you to start thinking of, maybe the triggers to some of the things that you might have eventually done in your space, before you give us your own story on the ones that you actually did activate and you did not even think twice before you activated it, what would you say happens when people activate? When do people usually activate without hesitation? When does that happen? When an alert happens and then they activate without even thinking, what are those circumstances? Because the reason why I'm asking this is that I'm hoping that the viewers at some point will be able to say, if this is something that marks or connects the times that I've naturally activated alerts, then I can try to make sure that I introduce it into those moments when I could have aborted it. And that's the reason why I'm asking that, when was it possible for you? Because there's something I always say in this space, and that is making possibility contagious. Because when you've looked at when something has been possible for you, you can replicate it, you can repeat it, you can bring it back. And so if you're not thinking about the moments when alerts happened and you immediately activated, and you are making that turnaround in your situation, then you will always struggle to activate. So since you still have the floor, talk about Ogunfayo, when would you say people usually just activate an alert?
In my experience, so let's take a practical example. So there is an alert on my computer that I need to activate something within 1 hour, right? I can push it by another 30 minutes. And I've done that. So it gives you opportunity to push and push, but there is a time beyond which you cannot push, right? So I think people sometimes activate when there's time pressure, when there is a limit beyond which you cannot upgrade again, or beyond which the second thing happens, malfunction. So either there is a time pressure, or if you don't do this upgrade after now, so iPhone says there is a new version, you have 1 month, right? And they keep pushing it out to you, right? But on the 29th day, they tell you, if you don't push this button, your iPhone will not work again. You will activate because you know that the next thing after that will be a malfunction. There is another reason that I don't think is the right reason, but there is one other reason why people activate, which is similar to what Ololade and Rotimi have said, but in a different way, is the fear of missing out. People feel that if I don't activate now, everyone will leave me behind. The world will leave me behind. I'm going to miss out of the benefit. Sometimes that could be positive or negative. I know people have always talked about fear of missing out in the negative way, but it can also be in the positive way where you say, whoa, everyone is, if I don't do this, I'm not going to be able to relate with a certain community of friends. I'm not going to be able to fit into a certain relationship. I'm not going to get some certain benefits. So what I've seen is either people are afraid things will malfunction, people are under time pressure, or they have a fear of completely missing out of the benefits.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Rotimi, what about you?
Fantastic thoughts, Tope. I'm still digesting what you're saying, right? I will chip in by saying, first of all, I think, okay, maybe this doesn't apply to everyone, but there are times when we get to a certain age, right? And perhaps it's just what society says about certain age that and you begin to have moments of self-reflection. Again, like Tope said, there could be the negative side to it, but there could also be the positive side. And the positive side is maybe you now have a heightened sense of self-awareness. And like some folks put it, you become brutally honest with yourself, right? Perhaps I've been living in denial for so long, but suddenly I look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself the honest truth. I say to myself, there's something off track in my career path, or maybe it's my marriage. It's becoming dead or routine. There's nothing to look forward to anymore. And then that triggers something, reality check. And that's a call. You know, it speaks to what I said early on, which is I have to, which Tope illustrated. So, you know, the way I would say it is this: upgrade, change, progress, acceleration, it starts only when I get clarity on where I am right now. And I admit the honest facts and say, this is it, right? I believe that that's a positive trigger. And then typically, for most people, it's a call. And maybe I'm using the morbid examples, but health-wise, some folks have had very close shave, and suddenly they say, you know what? I need to take exercise seriously. I need to take nutrition seriously. I learned this first when I read Stephen Covey's book, The Popular 7 Habits. And I think he gave an example in the way he said, you know, at that point where you get in a book where he says, pick a pen and write. Most people don't do it, but I did it then. He said, think about your funeral. Yeah, most people will just pass and say, no, that's morbid thoughts. I don't want to do this. And he said, think about the people closest to you, your spouse, your children, your friends. What do you want them to say at your funeral about you, right? And I know this because I stand on the pulpit many times, and sadly at some funerals where we try to say nice things, but there's really nothing to say. So Stephen Covey said, think about what, and so speaking to what Tope said, those things that you want people to say about you, hopefully those are the things that you value the most. And suddenly you begin to see your life as, I need to live towards these values, because it would be a tragedy, even if I'm 80, 100, and then I leave. And it's too late to upgrade. It's too late to accelerate. It's too late to make a change. So I think it's brutal honesty with oneself. And that's a factor. Thank you.
Lovely. Lovely. Ololade, do you have anything to just add to that for us? I really like this, pointers on awareness and admit. So you're aware and then you admit that I'm not in a great place. There's room for growth, which is where I think we all started the conversation from at the beginning, right? And then of course, Tope Ogunfayo also talking about, how the influence of what's happening with people around us can also ginger us to activate, because we don't want to miss out, or we are encouraged to go along. Because when I was thinking about it, what was coming to me was, I think the moments when I've activated certain things easily is because I knew that I wasn't alone. For me, I would say that, knowing that I'm not alone. But for you, Ololade, what would you say has not been mentioned that, could help someone to actually activate and alert when it comes up in their space?
Okay. I'll answer that question by using Pastor T's experience to answer that question. He mentioned that when they were restructuring his company, it dawned on him that he needed to work on himself, he needed to upgrade himself. So I would say when an experience is close to home, it can trigger that. I'm sure that you have seen people that have lost their job because they didn't upgrade themselves, they didn't have this qualification or that skill set. And it just didn't occur to you that it could happen to you one day. And you never thought of upgrading yourself then. But when it came close to you, it hit you right in front, it was knocking on your door like this. You thought, I need to do something about this. I need to upgrade myself. Yeah. So that's what I can just add. I just use his example to say when something is close to home. For example, let me give an example too. I've seen people when I was growing up that lost their job due to what happened. Maybe they didn't upgrade themselves. They didn't, add more value. And somebody young just came from UK or from US or someone from masters from OAU and just give the person the job and they tell you to go. And you might not think of anything about it. But if it happens to your father, he lost his job because he didn't work on himself, or he didn't get additional qualifications. Even before, after your BSc, you are doing your master's immediately. You don't even want to wait to work.
Exactly.
Exactly. So when an expense is close to home, it could trigger an upgrade.
True. That reminds me of how a lot of people also key into extra streams of income, because they're like, especially for ladies, because most times, well, now a lot of people are more aware, they're putting better structures in place. But we've heard stories in the past of how men pass on, and because they did not put financial structures in place for their families, and then the women probably, they were not really working, or they were working, or they were not saving, and then they got into a position where things were really tough financially. So you find a lot of women saying, no, I'm saving, I'm also doing it, because it has come close to people that they're like, no, we need to have certain things in place, so having those experiences close enough. So I think what we're basically pulling out of this one is asking, are you aware of how strong this upgrade alert is for you at this time? And who are the people you are surrounding yourself with? Because their upgrades would influence your upgrade. Really. When people are upgrading around you, you will start to think about it too. Or when you are hearing their stories, you will start to think about it. There's no way you won't think about it. So you have a friend who today you're talking about 1,000 naira kind of investment. The next time you meet the person 1 year later, the person is talking $1,000. You will start to think that, things are changing, their levels. While a lot of people will say, no, don't compare. Sometimes comparison is good. Comparison is good, because it lets you leave your comfort zone. Because some of us, like Lola said at the beginning, we are comfortable in our comfort zone. So we need that comparison to challenge us that, look, there's a lot more that can be done in life and enjoy. That doesn't mean we should live life under stress. Dr. Ogunfayo is always teaching us not to live life on the margin, or to live life with a margin or stuff like that. But there's room for growth. There's definitely room for this. So one of the questions I want us to round off with tonight, because I'm looking at the time, is, okay, so someone now says, okay, Rotimi, I want to activate. How do I sustain it? Because I can tell you, starting it is not the issue. Staying with it is the problem. So how would you recommend people to maybe plug into certain things to keep them on that track till they finally reach the destination of the upgrade?
Fantastic question. And organizationally, this is what I would say, and it's where I started from. Entrenching that culture of continuous improvement, right? So we're not just talking about it. Now, if it was personal, I would call it a habit. But because I speak organizationally, I say a culture. A culture of continuous improvement assumes certain things. One, it assumes that things can be better than what it is currently, right? Two, it assumes that there's a system in place for periodic evaluation, right? And of course, personally, most of us know that, for instance, the beginning of a new year, we might argue, it's just the change of the calendar, and what psychologists have said that that newness triggers something in you that makes you want to start something, become something, do something different, right? Now, but it may not be the start of a new year. It may just be the start of a new season or something. But the point is having a system where, whether you want to or you have to, you do an evaluation and you say, where are we? Where am I? Now, within an organization, that culture, that system, like we know, culture is the behavior of people, right? So for those who are in the lead, to make it sustainable, the first thing those in the lead must do is to model that behavior of evaluation, right? And aiming for continuous improvement. What it does is it influences everyone watching that, it's not just a talk, right? It's something that those who are up front model, they do it, they wear it, right? They institutionalize it. I think that's the word I'm looking for. So after I lost that there tooth, right, I triggered something which all my life, my mom, my wife, my children have been saying we should do it, which is you brush twice. I had never done it. But after that tooth went, and I said, at 80 years old, do I still want to have? So I decided I would start brushing twice. And because it's not my default, we are talking sustainability now, I tied another habit to the brushing, something I really wanted to do, which was I had a devotional that I would listen to at the point where I'm brushing. So I really don't want to brush, but I'm listening to that devotional, and it kind of makes it so. It's been a year and 3 months down the line. I've never missed one day.
Wow,
Right?
wow, wow.
So something changed. I put a system in place. I ensured that it became a habit for me, right? So that's what I would say to those who ask, how can we sustain this?
Wow, wow, wow. I like that. The first thing is to put a system in place to preempt. That's the word I put there. Preempt that alert. Because sometimes many of us, we live life reactionally. What other word? Like, we're waiting for things to first of all happen before we realize we're not proactive about it. So I like the way you've emphasized we need to have moments in our lives where we actually pause and say, okay, what's going on here? Because a lot of us are not doing that. What's going on here? Is it good enough to go? There's a way one of our guests in the past said it, that you ask, is it working or not? If it's not working, it's time to upgrade. If it's working, okay, what can we tweak? Because if you're not having that systematic evaluation in place, or at least seasons in the year, is it 4 times? Once, even if you say, okay, you only do it end of the year or first day in January or something like that, that will help you to want to. Because we talked about wanting to and have to, because many of us wait for the have to happen, right? But it's good for us to learn how to, position for the want to, right? And then you said connect to something you want to do so that you can be an enjoyable habit, because that is when you can stay with it. And I think consistency is really what gets us to the end of the upgrade that we really, really want. Thank you so much for that. Tope Ogunfayo, I see you nodding. It's like some things are coming to your mind while you were talking. So let's hear from you.
No, actually, what was coming to my mind is how a lawyer is teaching us how to do engineering. Because what he has explained here is all about engineering. And if I wanted to take it from an engineering point of view, that's exactly what you would do. You say, hey, don't close a gap that doesn't exist, or don't start to have a plan without first doing a gap analysis. Where am I? Where do I want to go? And then how do I get there? Those are questions that an advancing man would ask, right? So before you even then put a system around it that he has said, because again, guys, let's be realistic. It's not every upgrade alert that you will be pressing. If not, you will be bankrupt. So upgrade from economy to business. Hey, accept. Upgrade from iOS 5 to iOS 6. Hey, accept. You accepted everything. Something is wrong, right? So the intent of what we're saying is not that you accept every upgrade. Is to say, okay, look, what upgrades do I need in my life and in my space right now? Whether it has to do with your health, your personal well-being, work. I will be very honest, some people are always saying yes to spiritual upgrades only, and other aspects are there not upgraded. I don't know how you are going to survive or how you are going to sustain that. So you need to be balanced in your approach to say, where do I have gaps? So you do a gap analysis, and then you come up with a plan to cover the gaps. And I agree with Rotimi 100%. You put a system around it. There is nothing you will learn more in the corporate world than being systemic. A lot of us are operational around upgrades. Operation means, you know how people behave in Lagos, as if rain wants to fall. When there is a crisis, they will quickly fix it. You are fixers. You are like using fire extinguisher. There is a problem. You kill the fire. No, it's all about taking a step back and saying, look, how do I put a system? And I love the example you gave. That's how to make it systemic. I think finally, I just want to say, be an advancing man. Be an advancing man. There is no way you can sustain upgrade if you are not an advancing man. You know, I've left the spiritual aspect to Rotimi here, but I would love to end with a Bible illustration about the 10 talents. You know, the 10 talents is all about upgrading in a way, right? And the key principle there is the more you gain, the more you retain. The more you gain, the more you retain. So it's that if you look at that parable, you can question a lot of things. We don't have time tonight, but you can question a lot of things. How come they are taking from those who have less to give to those who have more? Because those ones are advancing in their mind. They have made up their minds to be advancing. So they get, and because they get, they retain, right? So the more you gain, the more you retain is the principle. Be an advancing man. Never be satisfied with the present. And not only for yourself. Let me close on that. Not only for yourself. Make sure that you are not only advancing your own space, but that everyone who has any relationship with you, in whatever form, you give them this impression of increase, this impression of advancement. Let everyone see around you that they cannot come close to you without upgrading. So not only are you upgrading yourself, like these examples you have given now, not only are you upgrading yourself, for everyone in your cycle, get a vibe of upgrade and of advancement. When you do that, you will most likely retain it.
Wow. Wow, this is so engaging. I wish we could continue, but we need to come to an end. I'm looking at the time, I'm like, oh my God, but I want to hear more stories, right? I wanted to make references to some of the comments we are seeing on Facebook. Wale Olayanju, thank you for contributing. Beginning with the end in mind is definitely an important one when we're thinking about that. And I see that Kike Mbada also asked the question, which I will probably ask Ololade to chip in as she answers the last one for us tonight is, could there be unhealthy reasons for people to upgrade? And what could be the implications if, or complications if you go that way? So if there's an health, an alert comes to you, but there's a reason that is not so appropriate why you want to go for it, could that be a case for some people?
Go ahead. Oh, okay. I'm thinking about that question.
I can start with a thought while you think about it.
Let's talk about
okay. I think one thing that comes to my mind is comparison. And we can talk another 15 minutes on this one, especially in this age of social media, right? One of the reasons why people want to upgrade is just comparison. And that's why I like what Rotimi was saying, and I chipped in on gap analysis. It's not just every upgrade. So some people want to upgrade just because Ololade is upgrading, Rotimi is upgrading. They are using iPhone 13. How can I be using iPhone 8? Right? And so because of that, comparison, they want to upgrade. That can be unhealthy. Again, it's not necessarily every time unhealthy, but it can be unhealthy. We also talked about the fear of missing out. FOMO. Hey, if I don't do it now, what will happen? Hey, I will not belong. Hey, I will not feel among. Those are not necessarily healthy reasons why people want to upgrade, and we need to be wary of them. If you are competing with anyone, compete with yourself. Compete with the best version of you. I'm in competition, but I'm in competition with the best version of myself. What is the version of me that I am right now? What is the best version that I can be? That's my competition. I thank God for Rotimi. I praise God for Ololade. I'm impressed with Olayanju, but I don't want to compare myself with them. I stay on my lane. I ask myself, am I better than the version of last year? If the answer is no, I need an upgrade. If the answer is yes, I do other things around me that keeps me motivated and helps me to sustain that upgrade.
Yeah, great. Ololade, do you want to chip in something now, or we should move to Rotimi?
Okay, so no, I can say something now. Okay. Well, based on the first question you said about But like this you need to do to make your upgrade be consistent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to refer to what Rotimi said about putting a system in place. As the person, I think putting a system of people in place, permits that phrase. The circle of people you move with determines how far you go in life. Yeah. So, for example, let me give an example. I always use my life as an example. When I went to when I learned how to cycle, I know I couldn't do it on my own because of fear and everything. I joined the community of cyclists, right? If you want to know more about money, about investment, you want to upgrade your life, you got to invest about your finance life, join an investment club. You need to be in the circle of people that do that thing often and often until you get better. So putting a system of people, like I said again, permit my phrase, in place will make your upgrade to be consistent. So with regards to the question KK asked on Facebook, I would say, like Pastor T said, unhealthy competition. I'm upgrading myself to put other people down. Some people could do it for, maybe we're a complex being, for revenge.
Yes.
I'm going to be a better person to get back at this person. It could happen. People do it.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
So there are different reasons that people could upgrade for different unhealthy reasons, but revenge, unhealthy competition is one of it too.
Yeah. I like
And
that.
I'll to summarize, how to round up my own take with the statements. Like I said earlier on, upgrade is a journey. Nothing in life happens without you being intentional about it. And upgrade is an intentional thing. If you're not intentional about it, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So that's what I want to tell people. You want to upgrade, you have to be intentional about it. It doesn't fall on you. Like positive will say, like right purple. No, it's not going to happen.
That's exactly how he says it.
You have to go for it. But you taught me well.
There is now a copyright. There is now a copyright on that phrase. So you have just $1,000, and Rotimi is my lawyer on this one.
So that's my take on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Just before we go around everyone to just ask your final words tonight, so it might be a response to something everyone has said earlier. Just prepare your final words. I know, Ololade, you were part of the Thrive Mastermind group we had last year, right? And the Thrive Mastermind group is focused basically on this upgrade, next level. What we're trying to do is to, and you ended it well by saying you have to be intentional about it, because what we're saying in the Thrive Mastermind group is that we're saying that this is a 6-week resource to move intentional individuals to that next level. That is what we do in the Mastermind group. Now, you also said something earlier. You have to give yourself a system of people. And that is why we also provide that resource in a space where there are also other intentional people learning together. So for us, we would like to hear from you. What was that experience like? I mean, in 1 minute, because I don't want people thinking that, Ololade spoke so much and she's just talking about Thrive, but just tell us, what was it like for you going through that experience? You are muted.
Apologies. I would say, that's the Thrive Masterclass. I would say, funny, I was telling somebody to go for it today. One of my colleagues in the office. Have you attended that class before? I think you should go for it. Well, for the things I learned in that class, during the sessions, I learned a lot about myself. Yeah, it could be this. I don't know. It could be a grown-up. I don't know that much about yourself. I knew a lot about myself. I got to know my strengths and my weaknesses and the area I could work on, and the places where I could always show myself. The foot I should always put forward as regards to me being Ololade Olayanju. So I know if I want to, so in my office now, or among my friends, or wherever I find myself, I know the things I can do and the things that I will probably step down from doing because I know that I'm not good at it. Okay. And not being just good at it, I can make as a leader, I'd delegate for someone to work for me, someone that is in my group that is good at that thing and doesn't make the person better than me, but makes me a better person, a better leader. Secondly, I remembered I had a one-on-one with you, Ogunfayo, and that kind of opened my mind to a lot of things. First, to summary of everything, is just that with my one-on-one with you, I learned, I came up with my short-term goals and my long-term career goals. And believe me, it's helping me a lot. So I know what I want to do in the next 1 year, and I don't know what to do in the next 5 years. I know where I'm going to be in the next 5 years. I have it in my mind. And the book for my masterclass is in my car. And I'm going through traffic. I still flip through it to see what I learned. And also, last thing I also remember was that I unlearned a lot of things. I remember the last class we had about money. I can't remember the title now, about money. There's so many things I had to unlearn. Some values that I had in my head that if I didn't remove it from my mind, it's going to hinder me from where I'm going, from my joy, my greatness. So that class helped me reset some of my things. Then it helped me reset some things in my mind, helped me reset my value system, and also helped me remove some things I don't need to, like, I don't know what's the word to use now. I don't need them to be in my life. The values I need to remove from my life. Your classes reveal them to me, and I'm working on them now. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm so happy about that. And we're really happy about the next set we're going to be having. And this is a May-June thing. It's actually the middle of the year mastermind group we have. And the concept of the mastermind groups is that at the beginning of the year, we are laying foundation with a reset for results. The middle of the year, we're talking about thriving. And that's where we're looking at this next level, this upgrade alert. Activate your upgrade alert, key into your upgrade alert, and then we end the year with the science of getting rich, right? But this one is a May-June thing. And for anyone who is watching this or who is listening in and who is thinking about, okay, you guys have been talking about upgrade, where will I get the people? Where will I get the clarity? How will I get this done? This mastermind group is one you definitely want to look into. And if you're like, where do I even get the information from? thepolishedlens.com. We're going to have a team member put up the link to that shortly on the group, just under this video link, this video. And you just want to go there. And if you have questions, please just buzz me. I am ready to have a conversation with you on how this value can be framed for you properly, because I can tell you it is life-changing. This is like the 3rd year running that we're having this, and we wouldn't be running it this consistently if it wasn't bringing change to people's lives. So as we end up tonight, I want Rotimi, first of all, to give us his final words on, upgrade alert, abort or activate.
Thank you very much. Honestly, all I can say is that it's been a great time. And I've loved every moment of this conversation. I've learned a lot, right? Final words would be simple. Life is in seasons, right? And then for every season, there are probably areas that we need to concentrate and focus more than other areas of all of life's domains, right? And so it's good to know that we might receive alerts, like Tope said, in several areas, several aspects. But it's good to know what our priorities are at particular seasons in our lives, right? So that we can attend to those areas, I dare say one after the other. But while we do that, there's also that part of being discerning, because there's some upgrades we make in one area that has a catalyst effect across all areas of our lives, right? And so that's what I would say. Be a bit discerning. Listen to your heart. By that I mean, what do you value the most? And then begin to gravitate towards making changes, clicking on those alerts, notifications in those areas. Don't be under pressure to do it all at the same time. There's just so much energy and so much time that we have, right? And we want to optimize the resource, energy we have at time. But I dare say, because it's a lifetime journey, one after the other, we'll begin to make this upgrades. On a final note, really, I would say I add one new habit to my life every year, just one, right? And I've been doing this for about 7 years now. And for each, by the time, it's the law of, what's that? Geometric proportion. By the time I look at the cumulative effects of just one small change each year, it's been phenomenal. So I really want to say thank you again, and God bless you.
That's a great point there. I think that's one me I'm going to take away. I don't know what the listeners have taken away from that end note there. But for me is, what one thing can you add now and then? Now and then. You don't have to do a massive change, because that's what happens to a lot of us. We want the change to be until it is heavy and like a lightning strike or something. It's not a change at all, but that little one. Thank you so much for that. Tope Ogunfayo, what are your final words for us tonight?
It's difficult to say a final word after Rotimi because he has said everything. I think the only addition is do it now. And if anyone is listening to us, do it now. Register for that course now. You know, press that link now. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. Time is going. You don't have all the time in the world. What we said we would do 20 years ago, now it's 20 years now. Saying 20 years time, as if 20 years will not come. It's 20 years. It's 20 years. People are having vision. I remember when people used to talk about Vision 2000. We used to look at them as if, are you guys serious? This is 2022. Wake up and smell the coffee. There is Vision 2030 now, Vision 2050. Before you know it, it will come. Whatever you want to do, do it now. It was Olayanju Watu that said that increase is what all men are seeking for. Everything is under the necessity for continuous advancement. Make sure you do it now. Make sure you do it consistently, and you will be an advancing man. You would upgrade often. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Ololade, as the lady, you have the floor. You can close the floor for us tonight. What will be your final words for us tonight?
Okay. Like we said earlier on, upgrade is making something better, being a better person, better version of yourself. Whatever thing you decide to do to upgrade yourself, it's going to add value to you. And remember, because I'm in the finance world, I always think about money. Money will always flow towards value. So if you want to become a better person, you can earn more.
Yeah. You
can demand more because you've worked on yourself. You're a better person. So I always say, go for it. Whatever it is, that'll make you a better person. Whatever area of your life you choose to work on, maybe your health, maybe your work, maybe your family, maybe your health, whatever it is, go for it. It's going to add value to you, make you better, and make yourself a better person. Thank you.
Awesome, beautiful. My own final word tonight is you need to watch the replay of this thing. You need to watch the replay of this session. This has been packed. Honestly, I wasn't even I knew we were going to have a lovely time because we usually do on C.E.D.A.R Table, but I didn't even know it was going to be this juicy. So if you've not watched everything, or if you missed some parts, you definitely want to watch it again. And if you're looking out for the link to sign up on the mastermind group, the seats are limited. We don't do large class for our mastermind group, please. So you need to make sure you sign up quickly. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to help you with that. So thank you so much for joining us today. Rotimi, Ogunyemi, Ololade, Olayanju, and Tope Ogunfayo as usual. It was lovely having you guys. You can unmute and say your final goodbyes, and see you all next time when we have another version of C.E.D.A.R Table.
Bye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for your honor. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.